The mortals cast black shadows on a gray night as they huddled on the truss of rock. A guttural vomiting of words spewed out in unison as the absconded souls prayed to a deaf god. This angered Satan. He was unable to understand their pleading prayers to a god who had forsaken them. After all, he was God now. He was the Almighty to whom all prayers are prayed. He was the dynastic monarch of the universe for all eternity, and these senile beings were his subjects. Well, they had to be taught. He procured from under his wing a snake-like whip with 7 heads that flashed 7 tongues of fire, and in a hissing snap began his despotic reign. Then complete pandemonium broke loose. The beings nearest Satan pressed back against the crowd and screamed in terror as a reptilic whip hissed past them. Those in the center shuddered and screamed as they saw what could happen to them. The horror of fear increased as it ran to the rear of the mob. Ignorant to what was happening up front, the mortals in the rear let their imagination carry them into the deepest panic of fear. And suddenly everyone was moving at once. Thousands upon thousands of crippled and crushed souls trampled over and fell under the rushing mob behind them. The mob crashed into the wall supporting the ledge. They turned and fled to the outer edge where Satan stood. This was more than he expected. Headless mortals who had once brought up the rear now led the pack racing over the edge of the cliff. Satan fought to hold his position on the outer ledge, but it was useless. The panic-stricken mob swept him over the ledge. He tumbled downward, twisting over and over until 100 feet below his wings took air again and brought him back to where they were. He cursed as more and more of his precious subjects dove into nothingness below. And in a final desperation, he cracked his whip in a hissing blow that cut the mortals in its path to quivering flesh. This turned the mob on their heels, and they once again sped to the barren wall that had trapped them before. But this time, a strange happening occurred to betray their fate. A large opening to a cave appeared, and they ran into it. They clawed and trampled each other as they desperately attempted to reach the door of freedom. Finally, the last of the mortals dove into the cave. He turned to see if Satan had followed. He had. For the third and final time that night, Satan's roaring laughter rang out over the earth. A flame of blue fire had shot across the opening, creating an impenetrable door that would be locked by fire for all eternity. Satan's image appeared above them. They paid no heed to it, for they knew they were in the caves of hell.